Hey everybody, I'm Logan Swanson, aka the Land Fixer. I have a few services you might be interested in. Prime Land Exchange if you need any properties marketed. I also have Copious, which is a new service we're adding. Copious.land, that's going to be a wholesale network. So if you're looking to buy land wholesale or sell land wholesale, we got you covered. But hey, Nick asked me to record a little video for you just for his audience to sort of get some of y'all started in land investing here in 2025. Um, what I thought I'd do is I put together a little video here. I call this the 7 habits of highly effective land investors. Okay. This is going to take up some of the key issues that I see people struggling with on a regular basis, whether they're bringing deals to me for JV, for funding, whatever it might be. I look at a lot of deals. So first, be proactive in market research. I can't tell you how many people are bringing me deals and they have really no experience in the area. They have not done a lot to determine, I don't know, the demographics of the area. Is it a hot market? Is it a slow market? What are people there interested in? Where did they come from? What are they looking to buy? What are if they're building homes there? Are there certain types of homes or styles of homes? Are there popular home builders in the area that they may want to network with? Whatever it might be, you need to be really proactive in market research. So when you're entering an area, you are confident that you're going to be able to do deals there in a tight timeline. Because land flipping, you want to be flipping properties usually in 3 to 6 months. But you also kind of know what to look out for. Okay. For example, areas south of Dallas, water is a big issue. So it's expensive or sometimes even impossible to connect to local water districts. Something to really keep in mind, right? Number two, this is probably the most important, and that's begin with the exit strategy in mind. Okay, whether if you're in the acquisition phase, you're trying to find deals to sell, I would start with what you know people are trying to buy in that area. Where I am in Dallas Fort Worth, a lot of people really like the 10-acre split, something that they can put a barndominium on. Maybe they have a shop building, an outbuilding. They can raise their chickens and goats or whatever. Um, you need to know who your buyer is because you need to know how many of those buyers are in the area. You need to know if there's a lot of buyers at this price point with cash or if you're going to have to own or finance. Whatever it might be, I know a lot of investors who start with finding the buyer and then they re-engineer the business in order to provide properties to those buyers. That way, when they do get something under contract, they're not wishing and hoping that there's a buyer out there. They already know who that buyer is. And they usually know what that buyer is willing to pay. Big deal, right? So if you already know you have a buyer and you know what that buyer is willing to pay, then you know exactly what you can buy the property for, or even just get it under contract for if you're looking to wholesale a contract. So very, very important. You want to begin with the exit strategy in mind. Put due diligence first. Okay. There's a myth in this industry that you can't lose money on land. It's so safe. I would say it is a safe investment if you know how to do due diligence. And a lot of that seems obvious, right? You're going to look at topography. You're going to make sure there's road access. They're going to check on utilities. But unless you are actually making those phone calls yourself to, say, the water district, to the planning and zoning department, to verify all this information, there is a good chance that you could stumble into a hiccup, especially in this day and age, that another investor avoided because they did their due diligence. So you are now in an era of competition in this industry. Whether gurus or whoever are saying there's no competition, that is not true. Oftentimes, you're speaking to sellers who have already talked to a number of interested investors who are trying to buy these properties, and they might have passed on this property. So you need to be more of a skeptic now than ever. You need to double check everything. Okay, if you get a third-party due diligence report, you need to call the water department. You need to contact sewer, whoever is involved in the deal that has some sort of authority over the property. You need to make contact with them because you don't know what you're going to stumble into unless you're double checking all that. So a lot of land investors are getting burned right now just in due diligence. Next, since there's more competition, margins in our industry are shrinking somewhat. Whether you're having to put more money into marketing to acquire a deal or you're having to pay more for a deal than you used to. So oftentimes the way that you're able to make these things work is thinking of win-win strategies between sellers and buyers. So owner financing, creative structures are really, really paying off for people who know how to put them together, or even just have an attorney who's able to put the correct paperwork together or really help you understand risk and mitigate against it. So this is something that good investors do really well. Okay, they are able to create win-win strategies between sellers and buyers on the acquisition side, but also on the disposition side. They're doing creative finance structures. And there's a few that really stand out to me. All right, so seek first to understand the land, then to market it. What does this mean? So oftentimes, if you are in the situation where you kind of bought a property because you just checked comps and you thought it was a good deal, that does not mean that you are really understanding the best and highest use for this property or really who is the buyer. So, for example, oftentimes people are bringing me properties that are like 40 or 50 acres of maybe a densely wooded property. It's a couple hours outside of a city, and they're saying, hey, this is a great hunting property. Well, have they ever talked to a lot of hunters? Okay. Not a lot of hunters are really going to be able to be successful hunters on 30 or 40 acres, unless they're setting up feeds and feed stands and things like this. But a lot of people, when they go hunting, they're looking for hundreds of acres, if not thousands of acres, to really go explore. So sometimes we have an image of who our buyer is, but we don't really understand the actual needs of a buyer. So that's something that's really important to look out for. Is you may have a theoretical understanding of who a buyer is, but whether it's talking to brokers or people who actually live in that area, you need to talk with the sort of people that you think would be buying this property. All right, next is to synergize with experts. Now, what does that mean? Well, in our day and age, yes, you can still get deals from sending letters and cold calling and text messaging campaigns and whatever else. But oftentimes, deals are coming to us because we have a big network. Yes, it's a network of other land investors, but it's also a network of brokers and realtors. It's a network of surveyors. It's a network of builders. It's people that are in our industry that are constantly in contact with deals, and we want to be top of mind when they come into what they consider to be an excellent land deal, or maybe there's some meat on the bone, or maybe there's some sort of subdivision or development opportunity here. So it's very common for us to have people reach out to us from our network just because they know who we are and what we do. They know that I'm the land fixer. I can do anything as it relates to land. Okay? And last but not least, sharpen your land game. What does this mean? So what I always see folks doing, or I should say I very commonly see folks doing, is they will mail a county. They'll send a bunch of mail in an entire county. They'll acquire one or two properties. They may successfully flip those properties, and then they just move on. They go to another county. It seems crazy to me now. But it's very common to see in our industry. People just kind of hopping about, flitting around, and doing decent deals when what they could be doing is really identifying what's working in specific markets and re-engineering ways to re-engage seller leads, or just staying top of mind to people that could be sellers. So I know a lot of successful investors that are just operating in one county, two counties, maybe three counties. That is their market. And they go back over and over again, sharpening their land game because they know what they can buy land for. They know what they can sell land for. They already have a relationship with a title company. They already have people who can do drone footage for them. They already have a surveyor. They have a road guy. They have someone to go clear the lots. Whatever it is, they already have this big network that they put together, and they can go back to the well and just get better and better and better in the same area or within the same product class or with the same subdivision technique or with the same improvement technique, whatever it is, whatever your specialty in the land game is, you always want to be sharpening. And you can't sharpen if you're just going all over the place, or at least it's a lot harder in my opinion. So those are my 7 habits of highly effective land investors. I hope that was valuable to you. If you want to reach out to me, you can check out my podcast, The Land Fixer Podcast. You can check out my Facebook group, the PLE Land Marketing Group. You can check out www.thelandfixer.com. You can go to primelandexchange.com if you want to sell your land. If you are looking for websites, we also build websites on Shopify. If you are looking for a place to wholesale land or buy wholesale land, you can go to copious.land. And if you need funding, you can go to landpartnerfunding.com. These are all services in my network that I would very, very happily work with you on. So again, my name is Logan Swanson. I'm the Land Fixer. If you need anything, Those are all places you can find me. Cheers.